I am so proud of these teachers because I've had the opportunity to work in Chicago. I've had the opportunity to work in Austin Independent School District in Texas, and I've had the opportunity to work here. And I can make these comparisons, and I can tell you this: none of those areas, those places that I've been to, can compare to the programs we have here in Volusia County and the dedication of our teachers.
Well, I would solely and totally agree with you on that. And for those who don't know about Futures, Futures is a private organization that actually raises money, donates money to the teachers to help supplement and complement funds that are available to help the teachers in the classroom,
Right.
and help with the education out in the field, type of real world education for the teachers as well. I think I got that kind of totally complete. There are things that they provide funding for which would not otherwise probably be met through the regular process of the school system, and it's though it's good, it's awesome because they've given probably, if you add it all up, millions of dollars to the Volusia County school system.
Right now, we've said that they've given over something like $1.1 million over the years to the Volusia County school system.
And that's awesome. And what I was going to say was, though, it's great that they have done that on the one hand, but on the other hand, it speaks volumes about not the inability of our county to meet those needs, but the inability of the state overall to meet the needs of what the teachers feel is important. And I'm going to say to you what I've said before, an audience of teachers and parents and the like, that if Volusia County School Board, the Volusia County can give their employees 3.5 and everybody else can give them 3.5, and making up for what is, a lot of them making up for what the governor has done in terms of the health care issue, then our teachers definitely deserve that as well. So I just leave that alone and we'll just move on to the next
Yes. It's going to be a tough financial year, but we just don't know what he's going to do because sometimes he plays the shell game on us. And so we really don't know what he's going to do. So
and then we know it's not totally up to him either because he makes the recommendations, and now the legislature will have his budget.
That's right.
And they will go to work on it, tearing it apart and trying to decide where they're going to take money and where they're going to give money to. At the same time, you know, the funds that were made available through the president and others, those dollars are of course going away.
They're not here anymore.
Right. And you know what's so crazy? Now they talk about how, oh, we don't have those dollars anymore. We don't have those dollars anymore. Now when they had them, oh, they aren't about anything. We don't need them. Who needs them? We don't want them. Blah, 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 blah. But in actuality, they really helped to reduce the amount of reductions there would have been.
Well, they helped us tremendously.
Yes.
And the other thing that we're concerned about is the job education dollars that they took away. They have not said anything about bringing that back. See, so the stimulus helped us tremendously. Unfortunately, people don't want to give the president they don't want to give him the gratitude of what he did for us. And you know, it's one of these things that, like I said before, I see this happening not only here in Florida but across this country. There's a concerted effort, and this is what worries me, to dismantle public education. This governor would like to privatize as much as he can in public education. And that scares me because what it does is put the money into the pockets of his business people. And that's what scares me the most. I think people are going to wake up. We're going to go to the polls in 2012 and change the climate in Tallahassee. Because, like I said before, he wants to privatize everything. He's giving more money to our charter schools, more money to the K scholarships, more money to the schools of choice. And what bothers me about the school of choice is that he's saying we're going to give parents the money, but there's no accountability what they do with it. So I can go in there and apply for the money, and then who's to guarantee that I'm going to use to educate my child?
And none of those places, private schools or charter schools, have to provide the testing that is required of the public schools.
And they don't have the stringent rules that we have to abide to, and that's something that's really disturbing. They want to say charter schools or public schools, yet still they don't adhere to the true, real stringent rules that we have to adhere to. So it's something that we have to deal with. I mean, and I think folks better wake up because the time is going to come. If just think about it. If we lost public education, what would it do to the educational system in the state of Florida or across this country? It would be devastating. Remember, education is the foundation for everybody to go forward.
Absolutely. It ensures opportunity.
It ensures opportunity.
It opens the door to opportunity for
Exactly
so
right.
many who would otherwise have those doors shut and actually locked in their faces.
And I use the expression that, I don't have any kind of big dollars on this, but I said we can spend $2,500 to educate a kid if we spend that much, but we can spend $50,000 incarcerating that per year. There's something wrong with that picture. There's something wrong with that. And my son Anthony, which you know well,
Yeah.
he is the executive director of food services in Cook County of Chicago. Cook County is one of Chicago. And he said, he's the executive director of the juvenile system. Food service. He said, Dad, I see some of these kids, they're going to be perennial, they're going to stay in the system the rest of their life. And that's scary. That is scary. These are young teenagers, and they see no future, so they're going to just keep going and going and going.
And that's what they consider a lost generation.
That's the lost generation.
Right. Share with us, if you would, changes in terms of the legislation as far as this past legislative session, and in terms of the impact that you're seeing as a school board member on, and I won't say the quality of education, because we have such great teachers that despite what they do, the laws they pass, they keep doing what they can do to kind of buttress that such that we still maintain high standards. And I know you guys work to do that as well, but they're the feet, they're the feet out there. They're the pedal to the metal, so to speak, those teachers. But in terms of the changes, because there was an article recently, I think even in, this week in the paper about the changing standards for passage of like the FCAT test and the like, and how they were going back, and even though it had been set at what was considered a reasonable level to ensure that those students who passed it met all of the requirements, but they were capable of going forward, but that some now want to actually increase those standards such that more of them will stay back. We have that. We have the other kinds of testing standards that have been put in place. We also have testing that's now being required of the teachers, so that they have to take, test for courses in order to be able to teach the specific courses and the like. And I know that I was told during that time that there actually is a cost that's tied to that, but you've not been given the additional funding to pick up the cost for all of that newly required testing. And you just see more and more of that. And and when teachers or others start talking about the testing, the first thing somebody says is, oh, they just don't want to be tested. Oh, they just don't want to be held accountable for how the students perform, etc. But the bottom line is that there's more to a child's education and how much they have advanced and how they score on a test. I, for one, was an individual who did not test well.
I was too.
But I still, when I got my master's degree and everything at Stetson, my overall average was A-. So there was so much more to me than just how I scored on a test. And that is so true, I think, of our students out there too. Those people will say, well, you need a measurement. Well, you need a multi-level, multiple measurement source that you can use to really help the students, because if testing is just about testing, then what good is it when it comes to the actual development of the student to see kind of where they are and where they need to be?
Really, I'll be very frank with you. I can't stand the FCAT. I've said it before.
And a lot of people can't, other than the ones who developed it now.
Well, here's what the FCAT is doing, providing. Is providing the company issues that test millions of dollars per year. It's a cash cow for them. Yet still a lot of our kids suffer. Can you imagine? I had 4 or 5 years ago, when I was living in an apartment before I got married again, one of the grandparents came to me and he said, Dr. Al, my grandson's in 3rd grade. He has all A's and he can't pass the FCAT. back for their grades.
Ah,
That's what they're doing.
uh-huh,
That's what some those who can afford it. That's
right,
what they
right.
do. But why should you penalize a kid? He's got all good grades, and just because he can't pass the MCAT, you can't promote it. And I think what's the devastating thing for me is that when you see a senior can't pass the MCAT, you can't graduate. That is devastating to me. He's got all the qualities of a good human being, all good grades, because he can't pass this test.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about raising the reading standards for the MCAT. I think some business people, and here's what's so strange. The people who are making the decisions on this MCAT, this past time, I've been told that there were no superintendents on the committee, there was no teachers on the committee, it was all business people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the ones who said, we're going to raise the reading skill. Unfortunately, they said they're still contemplating that. But if you're going to do things that affect education, then you got to have the stakeholders who are in education, because they know what it's all about. And I bet you if you took a poll of all the individuals in the state legislature, I bet you would find, and I don't know what percent, you'd find many of them have not ever been in education.
Mm-hmm.
They're mostly lawyers. And they've never been in education, so they don't understand what these teachers are going through. And, you know, sometimes I get radical in my thinking. What makes our teachers so good, and what makes the school district the teachers, they are the lifeblood of our school system. Our clerks, they are the lifeblood of our school system. I told them yesterday, or the day before yesterday, yesterday when I was talking to the recipients of the mini grants, I said, you're like the aortic artery of the school system. The blood flows through, you all have the blood that flows through the heart of the school system. You make the school system. And I tell people, I can sit up there on the board and make decisions, but those who are in the trenches every day, they make this school system. And I'm so proud of these teachers, and I'm so proud of this. That when you go to a school and you walk into a building, and that clerk gives you that beautiful smile, welcome. You know, that gives you a feeling of what this school is like.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Westside Elementary with Judy Gwen. We need to clone a whole lot of them.
Yes, that's the truth.
She's doing so much over there, it's just unreal. And in the neighborhood that it's in is needed. And she's doing so much. The other thing that bothers me is that now we have to have these exit tests for the kids to take out of the classes, you know, to get credit. So, you know, all these tests that are going on, a test does not measure the knowledge of a person. Now, I have no problem that you have to measure what a kid has learned. And I believe in pre-test and post-test. Take the pre-test at the beginning when they come into class, and then take a post-test to see what they've learned. But don't let that be the only measurement of whether or not they pass.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are other things that you can use. Because I taught school at all the different levels, and there's other things that you can use.
And I would say this too, when I said, you know, I didn't test well. Now, if I was tested on the coursework that I was taught that I studied, I aced it every time. But you come with a national broad test
Right.
of whatever, and no, you probably would not do that
That's right.
well with that. But in terms of the coursework, you know, which is what I think, that's when we grew up, that's what we were tested.
So we're testing.
The teacher taught you X, Y, Z according to what they were supposed to teach in their curriculum, and you were taught it, you were tested as to whether or not you had actually learned it,
Right.
and based on whether or not you did well on the test or you didn't. And then that became, you know, a major part of your grade. That makes sense.
That was part of the measurement.
Yes, absolutely.
But they had other tools that they could use. Did you do your homework?
Mhm.
Or did you do your homework? Did you participate in the class? I mean,
Mhm.
all those are measurements. That's what I used, you know,
Right,
when I was
right.
teaching. You know, I might have said the test was 50%, but the other 50% was, did you do your homework? Did you participate in class? And some of the other things, did you do extra credit? All that stuff.
Because in education is really more than just book work.
It is, yes.
It's also those types of things that you're talking about that are measurable by the teacher being
Exactly.
there in the classroom with the student.
That's exactly
You
right.
know, where you help that student to kind of pull out from that student their better self.
That's right.
And I'm really grateful that not only did my teachers do that from elementary to, you know, we didn't have middle school, elementary, junior high, high school, but also